An important aspect of the second part of this week is going to be Darśan, seeing the divine or seeing divinities. As a reminder, the term Darśan comes from Darshana. View or sight is the auspicious sight of a deity or holy person, referring also to the 6 schools of Hindu philosophy and spirituality that are labeled here in the middle: Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Samkhya, Yoga, Mimamsa, Vedanta, and also you have, as a reminder, the distinction of these schools, which is Astika versus non-Astika schools or Nastika schools. Nastika would be Buddhism, Jainism, and so forth. So those are non-Hindu darshanas. The role of ritual is essential in Hindu traditions, cultures, religion, and so forth, but many attempts to understand India's divine images have been laden with misperceptions. Darshan, a Sanskrit word that means seeing, is an aid to our vision. This book of ideas is important as it helps us think, read, and look at Hindu images with appreciation and imagination. The author, Diana Eck, as a scholar, has juxtaposed the sensuous nature of Hindu worship with otherworldliness for which Hindu theology is renowned, Hindu conceptions of the cosmos are renowned. And Eck shows how the concept of darshan makes known the sensuality and the immediateness of Hindu spirituality to Hindu practitioners. The book Darśan also functions as a medium which clarifies certain elements of philosophy, which might be perhaps monotheistic in nature and bent, or pantheistic and polytheistic in nature and bent. Both interpretations are possible, and we'll see that come up more in the modern period. The multiple layers of perception, focus of the eyes, and so forth are important elements of Hindu worship and veneration, with the eyes serving as vehicles for viewing the unblinking gaze of the gods themselves, and thus a ritual that is vested on the gods and the obligation to keep their eyes open all the time during the ritual, and the gods themselves also have an obligation to keep their eyes open to protect the world. The images in ritual underwent an elaborate consecration process to ensure that the gods gazed kindly at humankind. Thus, seeing darshan, the vision of the gods in Hindu religious contexts, forms an integral component of the whole process of puja or worship, which also includes burning of incense, chanting of verses, mantras, partaking of prasad, food, and so forth. Puja is worship and ritual performed by Hindus to offer devotional homage and prayer to one or more deities, to host and honor a guest, or spiritually celebrate an event. It may be to honor and celebrate the presence of a special guest, or memories after they die. The word puja in Sanskrit means reverence, honor, homage, adoration, but it also has come to mean worship. Puja includes offering of light, flowers, and water, or food to divine essences or gods or goddesses, and it establishes relationships between human beings, deities, and gurus, as well as pujaris or priests. Puja rituals are also held by Buddhists and Jains in Hindu practice. However, puja is done on a variety of occasions, frequency, and settings. It may include a daily puja done at the home, or temple pujas and so forth, rites performed at births and weddings. There are 2 main areas where puja is performed, and those are the home and temples. You might have events such as Durga Puja, devotion to Durga, or Lakshmi Puja, devotion to Lakshmi. Puja is not mandatory in Hinduism. It may be a routine daily affair for some Hindus and viewed as mandatory in that sense. Now, puja can vary from group to group. That being said, in formal Nigama ceremonies, a fire may be lit to honor the god Agni. So in that ceremony, there's a connection to this earlier Vedic rituals, without an idol or an image present. However, in most puja, the view of the image or the idol of the deity, the darshan, the gaze, is very important. Here in the background, you see a Durga puja that's being performed in the contemporary times. As you can see, the people who are performing the ritual are dressed up so that they protect themselves from one another from spreading COVID. Now, in contrast with these rituals and the Agni rituals, Agama ceremonies include an idol or an icon or an image or a lamp of a deity that might be present. So the lamp, the diya, you might see these little lamps with wicks occasionally, or an incense stick may be lit while the prayer is chanted and mantra hymns are sung. Puja is typically performed by a Hindu worshiper alone, though sometimes the presence of a priest, pujari, who is well versed in complex rituals and mantras might aid the performance. In temples and priest-assisted events, puja food, fruits, and sweets may be included and sacrificed as offerings to the ceremonial deity, after which the prayers become prasad and food shared by all gathered. So this is relatively common. Here are some questions for discussion for your discussion post. For the first one, the top ones, that will just be one thread. And then the second question will just be a second thread. If you're replying to someone who's already answered the top thread, just reply directly to them and then keep the thread going. If you're replying to someone who's already answered the second thread, just reply directly to them and keep the thread going. Remember, as you're creating this discussion, try not to repeat one another's points. Of course, you can agree with one another, but build off one another as well.